Hey everyone, my name's Christy Candle, and I grew up in Fredericktown, about an hour north of Columbus. Uh, so after I graduated high school, I went to college at DeVry and thought I wanted to be a computer programmer. Thought it made good money. I liked computers. I quickly realized that that was not the path for me. So I switched my degree to sales and marketing, and after graduating, I moved to Florida, where I got very lucky and got hired by a sign company who was putting up signs for CVS Pharmacy. At the time, CVS was doing tons of new builds in Florida, pretty much one on every corner. And I started to get to know the developers who were building these locations from the ground up. And one day I just looked at them and said, "Hey, what's it take to be a developer?" And the rest is history. I ended up working for one in Florida, opened our Southern California office, and was building 30 family dollars a year from San Francisco down to San Diego. And I then switched developers, and I was working with one in Newport Beach who was building these 5 to 30 acre developments. And I got to see that development is all the same process, no matter if it's a small project or if it's a big project that's 30 plus acres with commercial, industrial, and residential. So going back to the entrepreneurial itch that always had me in Ohio, I realized I needed to start making my dreams come true. So in 2015, I started my own company. It was a development and consulting company. And I ended up moving to Lake Tahoe, which is about an 8-hour drive from LA. I figured, you know what? I've got most of my clients and projects on the West Coast. I'll move to this cute little mountain town so that way I can get out of the big city and out of the traffic, but be close enough in case I need to go over to the Bay Area or fly down to LA for work. So while I was living in Lake Tahoe, I started looking at property because I was making good money through development. And I realized, why am I renting? Maybe let me try to buy a townhome, and that way I can possibly rent out part of it since I'm still going to LA frequently. And I ended up finding this perfect townhome. It had a first floor entrance that was completely separate from the second floor entrance. So I ended up Airbnb-ing the first floor. It was 2 bedrooms and a bathroom. I lived in the second floor, so that was my basically the primary suite, and it had a giant room that was also an office and a bathroom. And then the third floor was the common area. So since I was only there about 2 weeks a month, and it was prime rentals for short-term rentals at the lake, I decided, let's give Airbnb a try. And it was after that first year that I did the numbers, we're filing taxes, and I realized 2 things. One, the power of owning property and because of taxes, and to take the money I was making in my day job and being able to offset that with the property I bought and to reduce my taxable income. That was phenomenal. But then when we looked at the numbers, I realized that those Airbnb guests had paid my mortgage, HOA, and utilities. I had accidentally house hacked and lived for free. So I was like, whoa, the fact that I'm living for free was well worth the minor annoyances of sometimes sharing a common area with Airbnb guests that weren't so good, or just in general of wanting your own space and having guests there. I was like, whoa, I just live for free. This is great. So I was telling my friend about it, and he said, whoa, if you did that at the house you're living at, let's just buy a property as an Airbnb only. I thought, that seems like a stretch. And I don't know, maybe Airbnb is going to go away. I don't like having only one option. The funny part is he's 20 years older than me and going out on a limb, and here I am being risk averse and against technology and new things. I'm very glad that I took the leap and formed my first partnership, and we bought the Airbnb together. That also not only paid all the bills, but we made money on that throughout the year. And then from there, I was hooked. It was a snowball effect. So I had kept listening to things like Bigger Pockets and ended up writing letters one day. I remember sitting in my third floor of that first townhome, writing letters to the community across the street because I had gotten a dog and she wanted a backyard. So I was writing out saying, "Hey, I live across the street. I have a dog. She's looking for a house with a backyard. If anyone's willing to sell, I'd love to talk to you." And a couple weeks later, I get a call from Grandma Shirley. She was the original owner of a home, and just said, "You know what? I haven't lived there for 7 years. I live over the hill down in Carson City. I've been renting it out. It's time to let this property go." So she was an amazing, smart businesswoman. But the house over the years did not have the best renters. Definitely found bullets, drug paraphernalia, stuff all over the backyard. It was a little sketch, but I knew the area, I knew the location, and when I took my dog there to check it out, she went straight into the backyard, into the landscape forest that was back there, and said, "Hey, I want to live here." So it turns out that property it prints cash. It's incredible, amazing. It's also very close to Heavenly Village. So very great decision by my dog, and I'm glad that those letters worked. And that also parlayed into us getting a fourplex 2 blocks away. That also prints cash. So to everyone out there, you don't have to come from a big city to get started. You don't have to come from money. You don't have to have it all figured out. It's just all about taking action and being willing to jump in, make a decision. And if things don't quite work out, go ahead and pivot because you're not stuck in that position. You can make a new decision and take it a different direction. But I know for me that buying property was the best way to get that passive income. It's not fully passive, but to really take away any thought or threat of needing to go back and ever work for someone again. So getting that freedom, being able to just learn from all of those experiences over time and different deal structures as I went was huge. So I encourage all of you to keep listening to stories, but don't hesitate and just jump in and take action because that is the best way to learn. So take care. Have a great rest of your night.